of the Roxborough Area Chamber of Commerce Board. I want to welcome you all here today. Today's breakfast is being hosted by Person County Partnership for Children. We appreciate them hosting this meeting. We look forward to the message you'll be sharing with us this morning. First, I'd like to recognize our elected officials who are with us today. From County Commissioners, I have David Newell, Gordon Powell, Jimmy Clayton, Ray Jeffers. From City Council, Reggie Horton, Mark Phillips, Mayor Marilyn Newell, sorry about that. From the Board of Education, Margaret Fratcher. Sheriff Dewey Jones is with us this morning. I hope I didn't miss anyone else.
On your welcome.
Hi there, good morning. And I also would like to thank all law enforcement and our first responders who are with us this morning. So thank you all for joining us. We do have a few chamber announcements from our chamber president, Lisa. Good morning, everybody. What a great crowd. Everybody's smiling. This is awesome. Thank you for coming out today. I really appreciate it. I have met many of you, and many of you I have not met. But I look forward to developing a relationship with each and every one of you in this community. This is my 4th month as President and CEO of the Chamber, and I'm super excited about some of the changes that we're making. Please be on the lookout for a brand new website. The website's going to be the hub of everything that we do. You're going to be able to register for events, volunteer, and advertise your companies if you're a member on the website. So we're very, very excited to get that. And you've obviously seen the email blast that we're doing, the member messenger, the chamber chatter. If you do not get those email blasts, see me after the breakfast. I will get you on the list because our next Good Morning Coffee Hour is May 1st, and that will be sponsored by Safe Haven. That will be on the email blast. So make sure that you get those announcements in your email box. If you do not, please let me know. We do have a golf tournament coming up on May the 10th. If you do not have a team, please see me afterwards or please call the chamber office. We will hook you up. And this year we have a $50,000 hole-in-one. Yes, so we're very excited about that. If you have not signed up your admin folks for our luncheon on the 24th, make sure you do that. There is a deadline coming up in a couple of weeks. So make sure you get them on board for that nice lunch that we provide for them, catered by Southern Edge. I think that's all I have for right now, but please see me again after the breakfast if you are not on our email blast list. And thank you so much for being here today, and I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate your support of the chamber. We will now invite Ann Garrod, the Executive Director of the Person County Partnership for Children, to begin our presentation.
Thank you, Tracy. Good morning. We're very glad you decided to begin your day with us. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, as well as Week of the Young Child. The silver and blue pinwheels remind us to help prevent child abuse and neglect, and the kids on the hill represent the 76 substantiated cases of child abuse and neglect in our county last year. We planted the pinwheel garden April 3rd on the courthouse lawn, and the Week of the Young Child kickoff was Monday. Today we will continue our Prevent Child Abuse message with a screening of the Resilience movie at the County Office Building starting at 10 a.m. this morning. On Thursday, be at the library with your child or grandchild for the Kissing Hand Puppet Show. And this week is also a time for any parents that utilize daycare to let the caregiver know how important they are to you and your child. So April is busy, but also a great time to acknowledge our children and all people that help make Person County a better place for our youngest citizens. Now I'd like to introduce our Board Vice President, Amber Norris of Specialty Designs. Amber.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming this morning. At this time, we'd like to recognize our board members for the Partnership for Children. If you could just please stand. And then the partnership staff. And then our advocates for children in Person County, our DSS, and our guardian ad litem.
Chairman David Newell and Marilyn Newell, Mayor of Roxborough. They both have official proclamations.
Good morning. It is wonderful to look out and see such a full audience this morning for what is always the highlight of our spring, when we can recognize our children, our first responders, caregivers, those who provide services to all of our children, but especially those who are on the front line in dealing with child abuse. You know, we hope that the day will come when we don't have to have these gatherings, where we have eradicated child abuse in our society and our community. But unfortunately, that day has not come yet. So it is always an honor to come forward and bring forth the official words, I guess, if they want to call it that, of the proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 2019, from the city of Roxborough. Whereas our children deserve the best we have within us and look to us to be protectors, role models, heroes, and whereas children who are loved and nurtured grow up to love and nurture others, they give back to their own families, their neighborhoods, and their communities the good that was bestowed on them. The cycle continues. And whereas preventing child abuse and neglect is the responsibility of every citizen and community, involvement is essential to break the cycle of abuse. And whereas it is vital that we join together to reach out to parents and children to prevent the senseless abuse and neglect of all children. Now therefore I, Marilyn Newell, Mayor of the City of Roxborough, do hereby proclaim April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Roxborough, North Carolina, and urge all citizens to support this observance. Thank you again for coming today. God bless you.
Good morning. On behalf of Person County Board of Commissioners, I would like to also offer a proclamation on the week of the young child, whereas the Person County Partnership for Children and other local organizations in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Children are celebrating the week of the young child, April 8th to the 12th, 2019. Whereas by calling attention to the need of high-quality early childhood services for all children and families within our community and state, these groups hope to improve the quality and availability of such services. And whereas the future of Person County depends on the quality of early childhood experiences provided to the young children today. Now, therefore, the Person County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the week of April 8th, 12th, 2019 as the week of the young child in Person County, and urge all citizens to recognize and support the needs of young children in Person County. Adopted this first day of April 2019, David D. Newell, Senior Chairman.
Thank you both for that. At this time, I'd like to introduce our speaker today. It's Muffy Grant from Prevention Child Abuse North Carolina as the Director of Development. She's been there since 2016. She has an impressive list of accomplishments that we are so thankful to hear about today, and we want you to find out more about this organization. She's traveled, just following her beliefs as an advocate, and she has one of her probably most important accomplishments is she's a mother of 4, ages 7 to 2, and just fantastic motherhood there. But we're so thankful to have her today and really looking forward to hearing you. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Muffy Grant, and I traveled here this morning from Raleigh before one of my 4 kids was up. But what a beautiful drive. I really enjoyed
the scenic route to Roxborough today, and luckily we have a sunshiny day, which we haven't seen for a while. I'm here today to talk to you about prevention. Oftentimes, when I tell people that I work for Prevent Child Abuse North Carolina, the response is, I don't know how you can do it. That must be so challenging every day. And I say, no, I'm in the happy business. I'm in the business of prevention. We're all the way upstream. We're talking about what we can do in our communities to strengthen families, strengthen communities, and keep kids healthy and thriving. So to all of the good folks in law enforcement and in social services, my hat's off to you, because this is really challenging work. But I'm here to talk about something that's really optimistic and hopeful, and the way forward. So we have some slides here, and it's a little bit of a hinky setup, just because I'm relying on my new friend Ann to move it along for me. But who we are, Prevent Child Abuse North Carolina is a affiliate or a chapter of Prevent Child Abuse America. And we've been around the state now for 40 years. This is our 40th anniversary, and we lead all prevention efforts in all 100 counties in North Carolina. And that looks very different depending upon the resources in those counties. But what we know is that in order to really have a strong development, strong, safe, nurturing environments for children, we need to have the protective factors in place, which promote healthy development and well-being for children and their families. So North Carolina is spending way too much money on a preventable problem. We know that in 2010, Prevent Child Abuse America conducted a study that said that the state was spending $2 billion in the downstream consequences of abuse and neglect annually. And that's in very expensive interventions in healthcare, juvenile justice, education, social services, systems of care, all of these really expensive, very downstream interventions. And we're only putting $2 million into prevention annually. And those aren't state dollars, those are federal pass-through dollars. So we really need to think about investments and investments locally around this work. Adverse childhood experiences are the single greatest unaddressed public health threat facing our nation today. So the film that I hope most of you will be able to come and watch this morning is called Resilience. And we've been using the Resilience film in order to really engage communities and educate communities around adverse childhood experiences. What are they? Could you raise your hand here? And I know the Partnership for Children people will raise their hand. But does anybody here ever heard of the ACE study? Or okay, that's good. That's actually better than when I was delivering remarks at Grand Rounds at UNC School of Pediatrics. So I'm in good company here. But for those of you who are not aware of what the Adverse Childhood Experience Study is, in 1995, two physicians on either coast got together. One was running an obesity clinic, and the other was in smoking cessation. And they recognized that there were these themes that kept coming back over and over again about childhood trauma. And so with the CDC and Kaiser Permanente, they were able to get access to 17,000 medical records of mostly white, college-educated, middle to upper middle class, in Kaiser enrolled patients to do this huge study to determine what are the long-term health outcomes dependent upon how many adverse childhood experiences that you have lived. And these are things like that are seemingly benign, like parental divorce, leading all the way up to the most significant, which is separation from your home. But it's inclusive of parental substance abuse and parental mental health issues that go unaddressed, child sexual abuse. And what they discovered was if your ACE score was 4 or more, that reduced your life expectancy by 20 years. That's staggering. That is the single most unaddressed public health crisis of our time. And what's so great about what's happening in North Carolina now, people are recognizing, companies are recognizing, municipalities, counties, governments, that social determinants of health really do impact long-term health outcomes and productivity. This just goes on to explain a little bit more about the adverse childhood experiences study. And these are some of the drivers. So these are population. Now this is at scale. This is a population scale. So we're talking about all socioeconomic kind of strata within this graphic here. So what can be done about ACEs? So much of our work at Prevent Child Abuse North Carolina is to address mitigating ACEs. And we do it really in 3 buckets. The first being public engagement, communications, or civic engagement, what we're doing here today, talking about it, educating people about what these adverse childhood experiences are, how communities can come together collectively to find solutions with using strengths and using resources that you have in your community. What's working for families, what's not, where are the gaps, and how can we buffer families with protective factors, which we know are the antidote to adverse childhood experiences. And I'll get onto that in another slide. Not yet. The other thing that we do is we deliver implementation support for evidence-based parenting programs. Now, I am a mother of 4. I know that there's many of mothers to be in our audience here today. When you find out you're having a baby, the first thing you do is sign up for a childbirth class. Now, the mothers in here know that's the easy part. And they offer you after all. It's the next 26 years of brain development for which we need help. And we don't have all the answers. We don't understand child brain development and what's a very normal response from the child and how to best steward that child through whatever that challenging behavior may be. So we offer these evidence-based implementation support, which is coaching and technical assistance, to folks who are delivering these programs on the ground, to families who are deemed at risk but not yet known to child welfare. And therein lies the problem, because we're not capturing a large enough group of children and families, because we're only really able to connect with at-risk families due to the requirements of the state and the way the federal funding guidelines come along. But Triple P entered our world, and Triple P is an incredible program. Who here is familiar with Triple P? Again, I'm sure the partnership folks are. Triple P is the most rigorously studied parenting education program. There's lots of different entry points, kind of depending on your need. It's dosed to the family and their situation, but it's a public health approach. So it's about all of us, it's for all of us, and we're really happy now with our partners at Frank Porter Graham Institute at UNC to beginning to build capacity around that program. And the next thing that we're starting to do in coalition with other child-serving agencies is to get involved in policy, advocacy, Little P policy and Big P policy. And I'm here to talk to you, especially since we have a chamber presence, a little bit about what you can do as a business to promote healthy families and safe children in your community. Safe, stable, nurturing relationships and environments are essential to prevent child maltreatment and to ensure that children can reach their full potential. And that's from the CDC. So pretty powerful reinforcement of social determinants of health impacting public health. So these are the protective factors, and there's a handy-dandy little hand symbol when you're talking about the protective factors. Interestingly enough, out of all these protective factors to keep children safe, only one of them is about children, and that's the thumbs up, and that's social and emotional competence. That's things like, does your child know how to make friends? Are they able to self-regulate in a tough situation? And all of those things are learned behaviors from their caregivers. The next is the pointer finger. That is knowledge of parenting and child development. So if I'm trying to have a rational conversation with my 3.5-year-old, that's not really good. That's not knowledge of parenting right there. Or child development. First of all, she knows she's smarter than me because 90% of our brain volume is there by the time we're 3 years old. And it's just a powerhouse, but she doesn't have the language to explain her frustrations. And so armed with that knowledge, we're all better able to address the child and meet them where they are and redirect that behavior. The next, because you don't want this finger standing alone, right? Social connections. So it's important that you have friends and family and community that you can rely on when you need to talk through challenging times. The third would be the concrete supports in times of need. And those are things like housing and transportation and food and knowing how to access resources in your community. So many families just don't know where to go. And then last is resilience. So when times get tough, do families have enough buffering forces that they can reach out to in order to weather tough times? So those are the protective factors, and a lot of the work that we do at the community level with getting folks together and engaged at the community level and creating plans, community child abuse prevention plans, which are happening now in 5 states, or 5 counties in our state. It's all undergirded and framed with these protective factors, which is an evidence-informed innovation. So this is a really interesting statistic. This comes from the CDC, and it talks about why it's important to invest from a very practical matter for workforce development, and in terms of cost, the child maltreatment, the toll that it takes financially on the community. So I can't read that small, so I'll just let you all take a look at that infographic, but it's powerful. It's really important. We know that there's 10% ROI and 0 to 3 investment. If any of you are following your IRAs or your 401ks right now, you're typically not getting that kind of return. When you invest in children, you get that return. So what can your businesses do to make a difference? You can promote family-friendly policies, things like paid family leave for an appropriate amount of time for your community, and supporting mothers who are nursing in the workplace. Those are really important things that you can do. You can support investments in your community and champion for those. You can advocate on behalf of children, locally in government, and at the state level, because there's a lot of influencers in this crowd today. And when we talk about going upstream, there's an old adage about these people were at the river and they kept capturing these babies as they were coming down the river, and they would get them, but then suddenly someone said, wait a minute, why don't we go upstream and see why they're ending up in the river in the first place? And so that's kind of where this idea of upstream is. If we invest early and generously and expectant mothers and babies in communities so that community risk factors are mitigated, then children will flourish and we can look forward to a really bright future with healthy, thriving communities. So with that, I'll kind of leave the floor open to any questions that anyone might have. Anybody? The film will answer a lot of questions as it relates to the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study and toxic stress. So I hope that most of you will be there, since it's a powerful film. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time this morning.
She had a lot of good information, and like she said, we will be screening the movie Resilience at 10 o'clock at the Person County Office Building in their auditorium. Next, I'd like to present Charlene with. We typically award a champion of children at this time of the year, and so Charlene's going to do that for us.
Good morning. I'm here to announce the 2019 Champion for Children recipient. This is never an easy decision to make because we are supported by numerous entities and individuals throughout the year. We're preparing to nominate an individual for this award, the committee began thinking about what is entailed in being a champion for children. Our starting point was the definition of a champion. Merriam-Webster defines a champion as a militant advocate or defender, one that does battle for another's rights or honor. The 2019 Champion for Children is an individual who is a vigilant supporter of children in Person County. She exemplifies the quote by Martin Luther King Jr. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? It is evident that the individual selected as our champion has a sincere desire to help and care for others throughout the work that is taken on every day. When speaking with coworkers about this individual, the words that were shared included a hard worker who brings a positive attitude and smile to work every day, always willing to help fellow staff members, and always exploring ways to enhance programs and services. The individual that was selected as this year's Champion for Children demonstrates the following quote by Leo Roston. The purpose of life is not to be happy, but to matter. To be productive, to be useful, to have it make some difference that you lived at all. So today, we bestow the 2019 Champion for Children Award to Miss Amanda Weaver. Amanda is the children's librarian at Person County Library, and forgive me, Amanda, she has been there since 2011. Okay, perfect. And she has been instrumental in collaborating with us, not only this year, but since I've been at the partnership, and especially this year, she has helped collaborate some of our weekly young child events. So we are delighted to bestow this honor on her. And we want to thank you for helping us build a better future for the children of Person County.
That concludes our part of the program. Tracy?
Thank you, Ann. And thank you to the Person County Partnership for Children for hosting this breakfast this morning. Again, it's another topic that affects all of us in our county. Is usually most of the topics that we cover here at these breakfasts. So thank you so much for your message today. So that concludes our program, but I would like to say we hope to see all of you back here on May 1st for our next Good Morning Coffee Hour hosted by Safe Haven. So everyone have a great day, and thank you for coming out.